Welcome to Listening Show, episode number 42, which is my number.
42?
42.
Oh, that's not bad for young Elvis Princeling.
Yeah. That was my number in football. And ever since then, it's literally the movie, the number 23 or whatever it's called, where Jim Carrey or whatever sees the number everywhere.
Yeah.
After I got that number at high school, I saw it everywhere. And so for the last, over a decade now, 12 years, I see the number 42 and I'm like, that's my number and it's everywhere.
You know why that movie was freaky for me?
Why?
Because 23 is my number.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
Anyhow, yeah, 42 is your number.
And they made a spoof movie about the number 23 movie called The Number 42.
That's funny.
Isn't it funny?
Yeah.
They literally did.
Another reference is that number 42 is the answer to life.
Yeah, from that movie came out.
Hitchhiker's High to the Galaxy is the movie.
Yeah. I think it came out the year that I was in football, if I remember right. And I watched that movie. I was like, that was like the start of it. I was like, the meaning of life is my number. And then I saw it everywhere. There's anyway, so we don't have two cameras this time either. We are too lazy. Actually, we're doing some setup changes and stuff.
We're gonna move. We're gonna move again. So it's like, let's just use what we have again.
Yeah, we'll keep it.
We'll see what. That's one thing I was thinking about. What's gonna happen when we move? We don't know. We're just gonna move out of this room. We don't know what the setup is gonna be. But we were just talking about how it's actually technically portable. Mm-hmm. Because the Rodecaster we're using can run off of batteries. My laptop right now is running off of batteries because I was going to plug in. Then I thought, no, I want to know how long the battery can last on a show. This will give me an idea so I can see it. So
cool.
The only thing that wouldn't be very portable is it'd be great if we could literally detach the mics from the arms and hand hold them, because that way we wouldn't have. Mm-hmm. But we could plug the mics right into the Rodecaster and hold the mics and do this, and
Yeah, that would be. That would be awesome. Like have a hand we could just get mic stands and then remove these entirely and then like
these are mic stands though.
You know what I mean? Like where you can dislodge them from the stand itself and then carry it like a comedian does.
Yeah.
That'd be oh man, that's what they do on the Pat McAfee show. He's got his mic at his desk, but it detaches. He has a separate mic that if he wants to soliloquize, he like leaves the desk and he like talks into the mic and stands up and moves around the room and stuff. And like that's when he's all fired up, and then he sits back down and he has another mic that he talks into. And I love it because you never know when he's going to stand up and do it, but he's always very animated, and all the guys who are on the podcast, they cheer and stuff when he does that. They all oh yeah, it's like that's what I was talking about. Yeah. I love the energy of that show, and one day we should have like 50 guys do the listening show with us, and they can just be our hype men.
That'd be awesome.
And they can contribute jokes. We need to make 50 funny friends. So if you're funny, send us your application at the listening show.
Let me make you.
At the listening show online inbox thing. We actually have gotten several messages from fans from there, and I love them all. They generally ask things like, "Who's this?"
Chad.
Who's this Chad guy? Or like they said, who's responsible for answering these? And it's Chad.
It's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chad.
Not me.
I'm Chad though. That's the problem.
Chad is.
But also it's Chad. So.
Yeah. We're going to keep the setup for now. Simple, stupid. We're going to kiss the setup.
Simple, stupid.
Yeah. What is that from UPS? Keep it simple, stupid?
I don't know, but I saw it. I don't remember where that's from. Maybe it is from UPS. I definitely recognize it.
I know that it's an acronym. The end. We are watching Attack on Titan.
Yes. It's so fun watching Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
We just finished the second season. We watched the first season in a weekend, and then this second season, which apparently is only half the length of the first one. Because my computer is whirring.
Yeah, it's working.
My computers go jet engine. So I'm sorry about that. We watched that next season in I think another couple of days, but it was half the length of the first one. Anyhow, I think that's probably the most interesting thing that's happening in my life this week. I don't know about you. I mean, I was going to ask for a recollection of the week, and other than that, it's
you moved in.
Yeah, I like my room. I like having my little place, and I'm
chill,
done.
Man.
I'm good.
I like your room too.
Oh, and the place I'm moving out of is basically done. I just got to move my piano out of there, so it looks clean, even though it's not mine anymore. Anyhow, not important, but we drank some on Saturday night when I moved in, when I slept here with my bed for the first time. And then earlier today, I was thinking, you know what? This Saturday, the place I'm moving out of will be completely moved out of. I should drink again to celebrate. Because originally I said, I don't want to drink until the place I'm moving out of is all done. But I was like, we can just drink tonight because I moved in. So
Yeah.
I'm eating my cake and eating it too.
I'm eating my cake. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to drink. You don't have to do anything, but I'm going to celebrate again.
Yeah. I had a super interesting week because of
Good.
your moving stuff and some other things. I'll mention it briefly, even though I said I won't. But we're getting another roommate temporarily here soon. So
You didn't mention that. I mean,
I mentioned that I wasn't going to mention it at the beginning of the podcast.
Okay.
But it's just in passing. So that's what reason we're cleaning it out of this room. So that's what this room is going to be used for. And so I got 2 new roommates in the span of a week, and I said that earlier. So I'm
Your
doing
life's
that.
changing.
Yeah. The good news is I wasn't using. There's 3 new rooms that are having differences being made to them. None of those rooms I was actively using. I had stuff in them, but I could just move. I have to move all. This is going to be the stuff
Which is how I think I'd prefer it. I was just lamenting the fact that I had all these spare rooms where I lived and I never got to use them. Like, what a waste. So sad. But this time, so it's cool. It's nice to know they're being used, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It felt a little bit wasteful before. I enjoyed it because it's quiet. But, but I like you.
Don't worry,
too.
I'll fix that.
Yeah. I like you more than I like the quiet, so that works out.
You say that now, but times
Maybe you
60
should move
minutes.
out.
Hey, bro, maybe you should look for someplace else to live.
I just like get really quiet after you go for like a second. No, it'll be something.
It'll be a thing.
One day I'll have an extra room again, and then
Maybe not. Maybe it's over forever.
Yeah,
Sorry,
maybe.
I'm just saying it might be over forever.
Maybe
It's over forever for me too. Maybe I'll never live in my own place again.
Yeah, maybe.
Possible. What would be the best circumstance and the worst circumstance? Oh, this is the best or the worst. But if you just died, well, then that's one possibility. Another possibility, maybe this is good, as you just realize one day, I never want to live by myself again. And you decide you like living with people. Or something in the middle that you can decide this is good or bad is I never got the opportunity because the events of life unfolded to where I had to live with someone else. So, for example, I got married and have kids, and now I'll never be alone again, and then that's just how it is. I wonder. I would guess that one for you because dying randomly is less likely, and I also don't quite see you going to the extreme of I have to have people to live with me at all times. You're not quite like that.
Yeah, not really. I don't know. I don't know what the best and worst case scenario. There's obviously benefits and detriments to both.
I mean, I would guess that you are going to live by yourself again. I would guess I would too. But if you didn't, what would be your guess for that? I would guess because you're going to get married and have kids.
I think the dream. Then tell me if this is true for you. I think the dream for every guy is to live by themselves with people very available, like maybe even so available that they're in the same building, but you live by yourself. Like I think
confused.
most people.
Female, male available, and you said building or like.
So like imagine, okay, this is my perfect scenario. Like I'm married and I have kids and stuff, and I get to hang out with them whenever I want. Which
Your
might
family?
be which might be all the time, but sometimes it won't be. Sometimes like I live by myself, which might just
Because they're just not in the house?
or they're just not around.
Okay.
There's this great comedian who has a bit about that, and he's like, "What ladies, y'all gonna complain like men don't like being around you," and it's like that's not true. Like men want you around, And then he talks about it's like not in the same room, but close, I guess. Like you can in the vents, ladies. You can be in the vents. That'd be great because then you're there, but you're just not around. And I love that bit because it's like, yeah, I get it.
So describe this fantasy to me again.
Okay, so I can actually bring it to fruition. So the fantasy is, I own a community, and like everybody that I care about is close. Like they live in this community. It's like a neighborhood or whatever.
Yeah.
It's my property. And I have my own like place or whatever, and my family is there who lives in the place with me. But I have like a flat in the place. Maybe it's underground. I have like a basement, and that's my space. And I can invite them to my space whenever I want, but then I live at the house with them too. You know, it's like, no, that's where I live.
So you're Paul Giamatti in A Lady in the Water, whatever that's called.
Yeah, and then I can have like if I want to go see family or friends or
They're
something, I just go next door.
very close, same building, but not in your place.
I would love to be Paul Giamatti in any movie, but especially Lady in the Water.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
and I love Paul Giamatti.
That is well within the realm of fantasy. I like that. There's another movie that kind of equates to it, and I think this is something that you would like as well. It's called American Gangster, I believe, with Denzel Washington, and he buys a mansion pretty much, and he moves in his family, his extended family, so 50, 100 people.
Wow.
Huge house. So he has plenty of space and room and everything in the kitchen to himself, more or less. Mm-hmm. But he can also interact with them and go to their... Yeah. An apartment is a better example because each unit has everything you need to live, like a kitchen and a restroom. But I'm sure that idea will appeal to you too, having a huge house with all your family and friends in it.
It's reminiscent of like the Abrahamic days where like the family like kind of stuck together, but they had their own tents or whatever. Like that would be pretty freaking sick. You just have like a plot of land to your family's name and your family just lives there. Yeah, but they like give each other their space.
Let's revert to tribalism. We can just get a plot of land.
Hey, it sounds cool.
It does sound cool.
But I mean, I would include family as like friends too. Like, in a weird way, friends are like family.
Yeah.
They're like family that you pick. It's just a cool kind of family. Gated community, but tribalism, yeah. Good tribalism.
I wasn't being totally mean by making that joke. I just realized, I guess that's one way of looking at it. But it does sound awesome.
Yeah. It's like The Village. That's what it's like. It's like
the movie The Village?
Yeah, you ever watched The Village?
Isn't that another M. Night Shyamalan?
It is, yeah. It's also another Bryce Dallas Howard.
Oh, that's right.
M. Night Shyamalan. That's
right.
He has her in a couple things. But like basically there was a rich dude who was like, the world is too modern and I am too conservative. So he bought a huge plot of land and then built a huge like fence, and then him and his family just started living like people in the 1800s. Mm-hmm. And then they just live off the land and stuff. And then you like the spoilers, but like the plot twist at the end is that you realize that this is modern day. There's a road right outside the fence, and when they need to go get help, they send the blind girl to go get their medicine and what they need so that she doesn't see the outside world, so she's untarnished. But yeah, that's a little too much.
It's a bit extreme, but the idea of
plot
essentially, if you had the village, but you didn't lie to everybody in your community that the world was out there, everyone was living there willingly. Like you can leave and go visit the city whenever you want.
I would like a cult.
I'd like to with some tribalism,
little bit of racism mixed in there,
and violence. There's some violence in there.
Yeah, I want to be the cult that the freaking guy who. I
want to be the guy who dresses in the robe and has the cult meetings.
Yeah.
He makes up a religion.
Yes, I would be the guy they worship. Like, what's his name? The guy from outside Dallas or whatever, the Texas guy. They made the Netflix show about him. What's his name?
I don't know.
Worship. David Davidian, the Davidian, David something.
I have no idea. I've never heard of that.
You'd like that show. It's basically a true story about a cult that's down in Texas. Prime Davidians or something? No. Something Davidians. It's the cult was the Davidians, and they basically praised this guy David as their god. But he was also like their dad, and he just slept with whoever he wanted, including the other dudes' wives and stuff.
That's why I want to be.
That's part of it. But that sounds like too much work, but... But like, and he would like encourage all of like the husbands in this cult to be like you guys shouldn't sleep with your wives. Like that's my job or whatever. And they just believed him because he was like, he was weirdly prophetic. Like he was a smart dude and very manipulative. And so he got like 50 to 100 people to believe this. And you should just watch it because it was one of the biggest like catastrophes that happened in American history as far as, incompetence of government authorities getting involved and stuff like that. Basically, people were hearing reports of like sexual misbehavior because he just slept with whoever he wanted, and there's a lot of kids there, and some people were saying he was sleeping with kids and stuff like that. So they got involved, and it did not end well for everybody.
Cool. Thanks for not spoiling it.
Yeah. You need to watch it though.
But yeah, nothing quite as appealing as sex and violence. Like, oh yeah, let's go watch that.
And it's also like a case study of people who are just dogmatically believe anything.
The only thing similar to that I can think of that I'm actually aware of is the Manson family.
Yep.
I don't know a lot about it, but I know what you're describing is similar to it from what
now the Davidians
someone manipulating a group of people. And
the Davidians were different because they were, I'm forgive my ignorance if I'm wrong about this, but they were largely peaceful. Like they just wanted to be left alone basically. And when the government got involved, it got really tense. Stuff happened. Like a lot of crazy stuff happened. And basically because the government decided, no, we're not going to leave them alone. And even if they've not done anything wrong yet, we're just going to keep digging until we find something. And then it just tensions and, it's interesting. And it's tragic what happened. Anyway, you got to watch it. What is that Netflix special called? It's a Netflix mini series. It's like a few episodes long. David.
I'll find it.
It's going to be... Man, it's gonna bug. It's gonna bug. I was gonna say bug and bother. It's gonna bother me.
But it'll come to you when the show is over. Count on that.
Yeah.
It'll come to you when it's not convenient. Mm-hmm. That's when it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's got good acting in it too.
All right, jump back a bit. You said you had an interesting week, or was it a good week?
Oh, just like a kind of a crazy one.
Right, and you mentioned it's because you have a couple roommates now.
I did a lot of house cleaning this week, and I I think that's what I mean mostly by crazy.
Me, it was
a lot of
half of it was that, the other half was Attack on Titan. Those two things, basically, the summarization of my week.
I've gotten less sleep this week than maybe any week ever before.
Ever?
Maybe ever. Yeah, because last
surprising.
night I was up till like 3 a.m. again, and I woke up for work. Like I've been up a lot lately. Yeah.
Your pain is funny. No, my brain just tacked on, if you know what I mean. I realize actually it does have a connotation. So that doesn't work there.
Yeah. It wasn't for any reason other than I just didn't want to, I just couldn't sleep kind of thing.
I know what you mean. I do.
It's really hot this week too.
Good grief.
I got in my car and the thermometer said 109 degrees.
Mm-hmm. You need to leave your windows down when you go into work. At least crack them. Good grief. 100 today.
My dad's in California and it's 115 degrees right now. Wow. Where he's at.
What's the hottest place you've been in outside? Because I think maybe it's 103 or 104 here in Kansas. So where and when was that?
It was Arizona or New Mexico.
Well, there you go. I was gonna say, was it Arizona? Because that's I think the hottest place I can think of. Minus you go further south, like Mexico, but I don't think you've been out of the country.
Yeah.
Have you been out of the country?
If you count the ocean.
No, I don't.
Well,
ocean is in the country.
But I wasn't out. I wasn't on the country, so that makes me out of the country.
Technically, yes. What I should have asked is, have you been to another country? To which the answer is 9.
I was so actively aware of that specific distinction when I went to the ocean when I was like 7 that I was wading into the water and I did not pick up both my feet until I was like, don't leave the country. No, it's just like I was like in the water, like fully like up to here, my eyes, and the waves were like splashing and drowning me. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm ready. And I picked both my feet up really quick. I went like this, whoop, and I picked both my feet up at the same time. And I was like, I'm out of the country. And I put them back down. And I went back to the beach. And I was like, Mom, I just left the country, huh?
What beach was that?
Cocoa Beach in Florida.
Florida?
Yeah.
Well, technically, I've left the country. I just haven't been in another country. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. We're going off of the topic here, but I'm curious now. Let's take 2 countries. I'm ignorant to geography. So let's say America and Europe. Those 2 North America and Europe are 2 different continents with countries in them. With that logic, if you stood on the beach in New York and you got your feet off of the land, you've left the country. Mm-hmm. But my definition is no. You haven't until you've reached the halfway point in the ocean between Europe and America. Because essentially, I get your point. You're not in the country of America anymore.
Yeah. So you think there's American water?
That's what I know. That's half the issue.
Yeah. Well, America acts like there's American water. You know, the Navy acts like that.
Yeah, so if there's a border to America's water, the country, like this ocean is still part of this country.
Yeah.
If there is, the border is not the moment your feet leave the ground, but it's also not halfway between continents. So
Yeah.
I wonder where that is. I'm going to go ahead. I'm not trying to shit on your fantasy or whatever of leaving the country. You did a good job, but I wonder objectively, if you want to leave the country, where would what do you call an agency go? Yeah, he left the country because he crossed this line, the ocean, which is called this, and this is our border. I don't know. It exists. I just don't know what or where.
So what I imagine is how I'm imagining this caricature cartoon of like the Navy in their like a blockade of boats in the ocean.
Like
this is our water. Yeah,
like
yeah.
The Fire Nation
like the Fire Nation blockade.
They're just going by like this.
And they're just like, there's another country he's approaching, and they're like, whoa. This is our water.
Yeah.
You know, and like, what's the other country going to say? Like, you can't have water. And it's like, are you going to come and take this water
from us?
Yeah. You're gonna take
Good luck.
Yeah. That's so dumb. It's all a little dumb. Even like land possession and stuff. Like it works and people like
agreed to it for the most part.
Yeah. If people agree to it and it causes less people to kill each other, then that's cool. So I guess the same works for water. If less people die because people treat this water like it's American water, then that's good on me. That was like the whole Cuban Missile Crisis was, this is our water and this is our water land, you know?
It gets dumber the more you think about it.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but your wave just crossed over onto our water.
Keep
your
your
dirty out of
keep
other
your dirty
countries.
English water out of our pure,
Yeah.
our pure American water. That's so stupid. I like it though.
Europe's taking all our water.
Yeah.
Okay, I jumped down the stupid ocean line thing from hot. Yeah, right. Okay, so what was the story for going to whatever state that was, and why don't you remember? You remember how hot it was, but you don't remember where you were?
I don't remember where I was. My best guess, I know I've been to New Mexico, and I was a really young kid, and I know that we went on like a church like thing where we did this church retreat where we went to another church, and we were in this like play. I can't remember the name of the play, but it was like the prodigal son play that people did based on that one song about the prodigal son, like the churchy one that they did a long time ago. Everybody did. But anyway, we went there and we did that play with my family. And all I remember is that I hid at that church, like while they were practicing the play and my scene wasn't on. There was this really cute little girl who was also about my age. And she's like, come here, I want to show you something. And she took me to the coat rack and we hid in the coat rack and she kept kissing my cheek. And she was like, can I kiss you? And I was like, I'm thinking back and recalling a memory. It was so cute. That was such a cute thing for us to do, is to go hide in the coat rack and kiss cheeks. I think I probably did too. I was a little churchy slut.
I was going to say, in a church, damn.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I played like the boy who gave the prodigal son bread. I was like, my dad played the prodigal son. And so I'd get on stage and I wore like the tunic. And then he was like begging for food. And I was like, looked at this lady like she was my mom. She's like, and then I gave bread. My dad was like,
I said to Dad, give back
I'll give you this.
Give back Donkey Kong 64. I'll give you this bread.
You're not getting this bread unless you unground me right now.
I was going to say, make bedtime 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
For a month.
For a month. It's like 2 weeks max. I'm like, God, you
only get half this. You only get half this bread.
You want this bread? I just hit him over the head with the loaf. The audience is like, what is going on? Anyway, all that goes back to...
And the prodigal son strangles the bread handler, spanks the bread handler. What's happening?
Don't do that. You don't embarrass...
You think you can do these things, but you can't, Nemo.
Yeah, right. But anyway, all I remember is that when I was like, can I go outside? They were like, no. And I don't remember if it was because it was super hot outside. I remember it's hot. I don't remember how hot it was, though. I think there was a heat advisory, though.
So do you not know that it was 120?
I know that I've been in over 115 degree weather, and it was so hot. Well, there was a heat advisory that said it's 115 degrees.
Okay, so that's the number you actually know.
Yeah.
Because I know 103. I believe 104. So I say I know 103.
Yeah.
which is here in Kansas.
Speaking of hot temperatures, have you ever had a really high fever?
No.
So I have.
I'm being sarcastic, of course I have.
Okay, and it's not this way anymore, but I used to have white spots on my teeth. You ever see people with those? Where they've got like brighter spots on their teeth? Yeah. I used to have those. I think I have white in my teeth enough that they kind of blend in now. But for years I had those, and I finally learned one day that happens after you have a very high fever. Like your teeth can become discolored, and they can just. It looks like they get bleached in these specific spots. I think I had a fever. I think it got up to like 106 or 7. It was really high. I was really sick.
And I looked in the mirror and I thought, man, I should get another fever. Get this evened out.
Yeah, it actually does like damage to your body when you get,
obviously.
Yeah.
Would want that.
I never was smart again after that. I used to be really smart, and then I got that fever and my teeth got white, and then I got dumb. True story. I was in this room when I had that fever. I had a bed. We used to own this unit. I bought it from my grandma, who bought it from us. And I slept in this room. I had a bunk bed right here, and I had a bearded dragon who lived over there.
You know what else used to be in this room? Right by me was a little stand and a big old little CRT TV.
Yep.
Right here facing that way. And the twin was there. And we'd share the bed and the floor and watch dumb movies like The Dark Knight.
Yep.
So I think it came out in 2008, which would have been 13 years ago. No way, I can't. That's 23 years ago. That can't be right.
Yeah, we'd have sleepovers. We'd share that twin bed, and you'd punch me in your sleep.
Good times. But man, yeah, actually good times.
Yeah.
And then of course when I walked in this room a while ago, probably a year or two ago, I was like, this room is way smaller than I remember.
Yeah.
That's just true for everything. When you're an adult and visit someplace you're at as a kid, everything just seems tiny. Anyway, good times. But you've been in this room well before I ever was.
Yeah. Do you have a story about the closest to death you think you ever were?
That's a fun question.
I have mine. And it's on the same note. That's why I thought of it. Do you want me to do it just because it's a good transition?
Well, because you have one, sure. I think I have an answer. It's just not remarkable.
So in this room, I had that fever, and no less than 6 months later or before, I don't remember, it was about the same time. I used to have really bad asthma, and I was having an asthma attack in my sleep, and I woke up to my throat completely closed. I couldn't breathe at all, and I was so afraid. At first, I was like resigned to my death. And I was just like, I think I'm just going to die. I just sat there shaking because I couldn't breathe. I was a dumb kid. And then I realized this hurts. I don't want to not die. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
And I remember I stumbled out of the room doing that. I couldn't breathe at all. And my parents lived in the room that I'm in now. And I banged on the door. And I like started blacking out right in front. And then my dad opened it. And what I remember waking up to is being very cold. I had a brain freeze, and I opened my mouth, and my dad had shoved ice down my throat to reduce the swelling.
Yeah.
I think that was the closest to dying I ever got. I was so afraid.
That's pretty darn
And I was
close.
so exhausted. I was like, it was at night too, so I was like tired too. I woke up like exhausted. I think he was smart.
It's cool you didn't die.
He got my albuterol, and he breathe it in. It's gonna hurt. Just breathe it in. And I breathe it in like that. And then he put me to bed, and he said, "You drink some of this ice water until you fall asleep." And I didn't. Yeah, it helped.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was very scary at the time. What's your story?
Well, I wish I'd gone first with whatever it is. Like I said, it won't be as remarkable as that. So now I'm just going to sound like an annoying whiner talking about anything that's short of, I was suffocating and I was lucky to live. Oh, well, one time I got stung by a bee and it hurt. And then I told my mom about it. She didn't care, and I just got better.
That's your story?
No, that's not my story.
I was like, doubt it.
Well, the first thought that came to my head was when I stuck a key into a light bulb socket because I thought it would belong there. Oh, no. I don't know that should have killed me, though. You know, that's not the issue.
Yeah. I wonder how much wattage it was.
And if it was, I don't understand electrical stuff. I wish I did. I know a little bit, but not very much. Like I know amperage or a little bit about it, but volts, watts, and amperage, I don't know a lot.
Wait, watts has to do with a light generation, doesn't it? It's not about
No.
voltage.
Watt is a measurement of energy.
Okay.
Just like
electricity. It's just, that's what it is.
oh, I can't say that.
Amplitude.
I did know a little bit more before, and I equated it to more like a computer. But anyway, that was the first thing that came to my mind. And I think I thought of something else. But if I did, it's not coming to mind. If it does come to mind, if something worse did happen, I'll have to go, oh, but I almost died. I don't think I almost died.
Yeah, that's getting electrocuted is freaky though. You know my electrocution story, right? Where I was on the counter and I was fixing the outlet, and I don't remember how, but I woke up. Okay, so I was working on this outlet. The cover broke because I threw something and it broke it. I didn't throw it out of anger. I just was goofing around in the house and it broke the outlet cover. And my mom said, all right, you got to pay for an outlet cover and you got to fix it when it gets here. And so I paid for it. And then we drove it home, and I was unscrewing it.
Just the Phillips?
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Whatever
the
screwdriver.
Yeah.
I just was unscrewing it like this, and I looked away like this.
Ooh.
And I sort of was like holding it by it. And I don't remember pulling it off the Phillips screwdriver. I must have just moment just like slipped it and put it right in there. And I just saw a flash of white and I heard a pop, and I slid all the way across the counter, probably 3.5 feet away. So I don't know if I pushed myself and just slid over there.
Reflexively did this, or if you got.
But it hurt for a second, but then it stopped hurting almost right away. It was like, ow! It was like white pop, and I was seeing stars for a while. And my mom goes, "What was that?" And I was like, "I don't know. My heart's beating so fast." And she's like, "You got electrocuted. You slid across the counter." Yeah.
Does this mean I still have to fix the outlet?
Right. I was like really nervous too. I was
like-
like putting the cap on, like shaking still. And
I have to fix this. I still have to go.
yeah, and I was dumb. My mom came up and she like touched me, and it like popped her too. But I think I took most of it or whatever. Because they say after you get shocked, don't like go ground yourself, like
Yeah.
touch rubber or something. And I didn't do that. So
Yeah.
she came over and she goes, "At least it didn't hurt that bad."
Yeah, it was similar for me. I was changing a light bulb, and then I don't know if I was on a ladder looking at a light bulb socket in the ceiling, and I was like, hey, this is a gold copper color. That is a key that's a gold copper color. I think it goes in there. Now, that sounds like something a 3-year-old would say, but I know I was much older than that. I was at least 6, at least. I was probably 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I know I was too old for that to be an excuse. Anyhow, I went and grabbed it, and one of my sisters and one of my brothers was watching me do this, and I stuck it in there, and the one thing I remember for a fact is it felt like I got hit by a baseball bat all over my body at one time. That's what I said, and I went,
Yeah.
just huge force. I looked around, and I went, who hit me? And they looked at me like wide-eyed, they're like shaking their heads, and I looked at the keys like, I found something lost, and ran upstairs. Mom, I stuck this key in the light bulb and I got electrocuted, I think. And she was looking at the TV. That's nice. Didn't look at me.
Wow.
And so I was like, that was cool, but I guess I shouldn't do it again.
That is a really good way to describe it. It was like I got hit all over my body. It was like hurt for a
Huge.
second everywhere.
Baseball bat was not a good descriptor. It's like I got hit everywhere at once. Impacted from everywhere. It's a huge force. Like,
did you see flash of white?
Yeah, I believe I saw a flash of white.
Because it was like so much force so quickly that everything in my eyes just blacked out. And I
was
know my eyes were
overloaded.
open. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my eyes were open because I remember watching white, and then it just kind of came back into view. I had my eyes open like this.
Well, it's fortunate that I was standing on top of a ladder and I managed to not fall over or something, I don't know. So it couldn't have been that bad.
Yeah.
Man, stories about, I'm taking a derivation in topic because I thought of it and it's like we were going in particular anyway. I think statistically, if you're struck by lightning, how's it go? If it's happened, like the lottery is another example. If you've won the lottery, statistically, I was going to say you're likely to win it again, but then it's like, well, duh. If you work that backwards, of all the people who've won the lottery twice, if you've won the lottery once, you have a better chance at winning it twice than someone who's never won it once. Like that's kind of a duh, but at the same time, with lightning and lotteries, for some reason, if it's happened to you, it will likely happen to you again, or the odds are way better now. I don't know how that works. Maybe for the reason I just described, which isn't remarkable if that's true, but
Maybe because it's so rare to get hit by lightning that if you do get hit by lightning, you're obviously
lucky.
Well, like that, and you're like whatever you're doing in your life allows for lightning. The probability of lightning to hit you to be higher. So
Maybe.
it's not like you're going to change your lifestyle. Like you're a guy who goes on walks
you
during
seen
rainstorms.
those?
You're probably gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I was interrupting. Have you seen those scars on people from getting struck by lightning? It's so cool.
They're cool.
It's easy for me to say that. I mean, I can imagine a situation, I guess, where if it happened to you and you didn't want it and it happened in a place that you didn't want it and it looked really bad, then it'd be awful. But
Yeah.
all that aside, it looks awesome. Would
Yeah.
not mind, well, I say that. I was going to say, I would not mind having that tattoo, but it depends on a few things. One, if the tattoo, I call it a tattoo, scar, is in a place that's actually cool and looks good, that's one thing. But two, the story is just as important with scars, I think. So if I was wondering about holding up a key on a kite, I wonder what would happen because I know I had. And then so it's a stupid reason you're dumb. But if one was, oh no, I was trying to save a kid out of a tree because it was storming really bad. I was like, you need to come down. He was too scared, and I went to try to save him, and then I got struck, and he's okay. But this is what I got, and that's cool, you know. So the story with the scar always matters. So I'm not gonna go looking to get struck, but if I can get a cool tattoo and assumedly not get hurt in any other way, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would.
Just so cool looking.
Scars are cool when they have cool stories in general.
Yeah.
There's a thing about, and this isn't important at all. It's just a funny thing about me. But I like whenever I run outside, like if there's a rainstorm and there's lightning around and I have to go outside for something or whatever, and I'm like a little wigged, it is not uncommon at all. In fact, it happens every time where I imagine getting struck by lightning. And then the speech that Iroh does when he's talking about redirecting lightning goes through my head. And I think, all right, I just got to channel it through my stomach and release it. And I'm just its humble guide. And then I'm like replaying all this stuff in my head before I'm like running out to my car to get like my credit card or something. I don't know. Like the whole speech plays through my mind. Like, okay, I wonder if that's something I could do. Like I could read, like I could, if it enters my body, I just redirect it.
And you hear God from heaven yell down, I'm not going to shoot lightning at you.
What, are you crazy? Yeah. No, that thought has not been lost on me for sure.
Guess what? My battery is lasting way worse than I thought it would. We're down to a third.
A third?
33% left, starting from 100.
Wow.
So this thing won't even last an hour. It'll be close.
Gee whiz.
Cheese whiz.
Okay.
Let's
wrap it up soon. Let's do like impressions or something. Okay. Hey, one thing about Attack on Titan that we've been doing all week is it's an anime, and we've been both like, I don't know if it's just observing, or if it's modeling or replicating, but they have so many weird quirks that they just do in anime that they don't do in other animations.
At least in this show, it's not like we have an aggregate of other anime to watch.
Fair enough. Fair enough, but like I think it's the stereotype about anime is true in this scenario where people like overact a lot, like especially when people are taken aback. They don't just animate like a surprised face on the person; they have to have like breathy gasps underneath it. All that stuff. Every time it's like, it turns out so and so was the monster all along.
I'm sorry, I'm supposed to join you. There's every character.
Yeah,
does
everybody. Everybody does that.
It's a good example of the overacting we're talking about. People can't just remark visibly or with a normal sound. They have to overreact audibly with a reaction of any kind. I was starting to make mundane examples like, I had to use spicy mustard instead of mustard on this. I had to use spicy mustard instead of regular mustard on this sandwich.
Sure, yeah. Yeah. Okay, and also, I know that I tend to believe that this is a really good dub of a Japanese show, the Attack on Titan, compared to other
We're watching
dubs.
the English dub.
Yeah, we're watching the English dub because we're basic, but so compared to other shows that have worse translations and stuff, but even like as quality as the dub is for this one and as like coherent most things are, there's still a little bit lost in translation.
Yeah, we're like, that didn't sound quite right.
Right, especially like behaviorally, like because just how people behave in conversation is different for that culture.
I guess, yeah.
So like the biggest, most egregious example that so far is there's a trial going on, and the main character is basically like, allow me to defend myself is basically what he's saying.
He's on trial.
Yeah, but he screams it at the top of his freaking lungs, and it's like you could say that just reasonably, like, allow me to defend myself. But he goes, allow me to defend myself, and it's like,
I think it's stupid too. I think it's stupid too, but it's easy to defend. This show takes place in some alternate universe where who knows?
Yeah,
they can draw as many similarities and parallels to our world as they want and throw in their own crap whenever they want. Like the defendant can yell at the top of his lungs, and that's okay. I mean,
yeah.
But we're backing up a bit, like the translation stuff. I can't think of a good example. This one probably was translated correctly. The character was saying, I don't know if I can, but I will. And it's like, that doesn't make sense. I think that's supposed to sound badass. And maybe if you change the words a little bit. So that may or may not be an example, but there are some times you're like, that didn't sound right.
Even from the first episode, the line that both of us laughed at, the one where it's like, I'm not a very good loser. Like, that one doesn't seem like it would have been.
No, I think that was a good joke.
It's a great joke, but I don't know how intentional the translation was. Because that first season didn't have like the.
This is the first episode, yeah.
Yeah, first episode.
A kid is getting bullied and he goes, I'm not going to resort to violence, so go ahead and hit me. I've already won. And the bully goes, well, guess what? I'm a sore loser, and then doesn't punch him or something like that.
Yeah,
but it's funny.
Yeah, it's a funny thing to say if you're about to punch someone. I'm a sore loser. But that's like a self-aware joke, and I don't think that character was a self-aware character. You know, it wasn't congruent with who that. It was supposed to be like personified dummy bully guy who doesn't have a personality. And they give him like a really funny joke line. I don't know. It just didn't seem. That seemed like it was lost. That seemed like it was like oddly translated.
I think it was that show that made me think about speaking another language again. I just thinking about it. Man, if another language, and I'm sure maybe there is one compared to English that goes along this way, but if another language was simply another set of, what would you call that? Rules for the characters. For example, E sounds like this. And then verbs follow nouns. And this, you still need a prepositional phrase. Like if basic rules were the same, but this word, Alejandras, means this. If it was that simple, I would be all for it.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, the rules. English is already very bad language. Rules-wise, it's arbitrary and all over the place, and it's bad. But I remember like studying Latin as a kid. You studied Latin too. That stressed me out because the rules are all, well, they're all over the place. They're just so different. So a way I may explain it is it Hebrew? You read it right to left.
Yeah.
That's a simple principle, but try actually following through with it. And I made that analogous to, are you good at throwing a football? Okay, well now try throwing with your other hand. Same operation, more or less, and it should be simple, but to you it could be just the hardest thing. You may not be able to get a handle on it. And that is why learning a language would be like. You have to... You find all the things you've been taken for granted. Oh, I've always read this way. Now I have to literally reprocess a sentence. I can't just say I'm going home. I have to go home. What's the tense?
Home, I'm going.
Home, I'm going us. Like what's the?
Yeah,
it's whatever.
I get it.
It's way more difficult
Sentence
than just
structure.
different new words to learn. It's more different than that. Yes.
Well, and here's this. I actually know a lot about this. I'll talk about it briefly if I can. There's this interesting thing. There's a whole study done about people who know different languages and what it does to their brain developmentally, hemispherically, between the two sides and how it coordinates them differently. A lot of people actually hold the theory that like American people and like are kind of stupid because of the sentence structure and because it doesn't make a lot of sense. And so Americans behave in a way that doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like we're training our brains really young to not make congruent, very sensible choices and statements. And on the flip side, very structured languages like Latin and, you know, a lot of the Romantic languages that are generally very rural, like they have just such more coherent, I don't know. This is a very big overgeneralization. But like even musicians, there's tons of studies done between people who are musicians who aren't musicians because music, if you know the theory behind it, it's very much behaves like a language. It's like learning the language of music. You can speak in chords and you can speak in tones, in keys and scales and modes, all that stuff. and people who know music as opposed to people who don't rewire their brain to solve problems differently. Anyway,
I totally.
it's so fascinating. I've been very tempted to pick up more languages, and I plan to someday just to see how my brain changes, because it will.
Yeah, I don't even speak another language, but I totally believe that. Like once I thought you said several things I wanted to comment on. One was, yes, my understanding is that if anything is translated into English, it has to essentially be dumbed down.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent to saying, I had a good meal too. The food I imbibed was absolutely excellent. Like there's a dumber version, but then go a level smarter, and that's basic speech in this language, whatever, as an example. That's my understanding. And the movie Arrival kind of deals with that.
I was going to bring that up.
Where they're learning an alien language, which essentially reworks the way that they think. They're saying that. Oh, they actually mentioned that theory.
Yeah.
That you were talking about. But although I don't think you said it was a theory, but whatever. Yes, I believe that's a thing. And I don't know if I'm ready for the consequences of being forced to think in a different way.
I think I just clarify the English speakers are dumb statement. I think it's not necessarily that the sentence structure it doesn't make sense. I think it's just too busy, and so Americans are too busy. I think that's to clarify what I mean about it's suboptimal. It's like Americans
inefficient.
They use more words than necessary to convey an idea that romantic languages like people in Italy, they'll answer the phone and they'll say "Dime." That just means tell me. They get straight to the point. That's how they don't say, hey, what's up? They don't waste the time. They just say tell me when they answer the phone.
That's cool.
That's one example. Or things like that where the other languages actually they say more in fewer words. And Americans take forever and are so self-involved because their whole language just takes up more space than it needs to.
Like, here's an example.
It's a very American thing. Take up more space than you need to with everything, including your language. Go ahead.
Well, that was my joke. Like, here's an example. So the word like is...
Yeah. Or, we do that all the time. I say constantly.
I think other languages do have filler non-words. I think they do that. I can't think of an example, but I know I've listened to, not movies. But someone speaking another language and going, I think when he's making that noise, that's just filler and it's not a word.
Or like,
I don't know that.
Yeah, different cultures do it and they do different fillers. Like we do
different vowels.
Like Jewish people do the
yeah.
When we can do this and they have that sort of.
It would make sense for everybody to have a need to fill. With something, but the fillers I would think are different. Imagine a language that did not allow for that. Like that's a little silly. Yeah,
I mean, ideally, a person, they'd.
Right.
Yeah. You could figure a person can do the due diligence of removing unnecessary words from their language, and people who do that generally are more successful. But as a culture, you don't see many people making that their focus is using less words to say.
Okay. So I know we talked about this on the show before. So quickly, if you were to learn another language, and this is the responsibility side, this is just a language to know. You get matrix zapped and you learn this language. Which one would you like to know? The one I'd like to know is sign language.
Yeah.
So what's yours?
French.
Okay. Now, the real question. Tomorrow you have to go start learning a language. You don't get to do a lot of homework about it first. You have to get ready to take on the responsibility of actually working to learn this language. And you don't have to think about it too hard. Just like, which one do you think you would want to go learn? I think I want to go learn Spanish because I think it'd be the most useful. That's what I'd go for.
Well, Spanish,
I like to hope it's not too hard. I don't know.
I think I have a general understanding of Spanish when I hear people speak it. I can pick up a lot of what they say.
Is that what you'd pick?
No, because I want to be different and hipster. So I'd pick.
I get it.
The second closest is French because of French Canada and stuff like that. And plus, I think it's a pretty sounding language.
I get that. The whole I want to be different. The reason I'm allowed to learn Spanish is because no one's going to know that I speak Spanish. That's my hipster part.
Oh, okay.
It's a secret language. So
Or
I'll never speak it. I'll only ever hear it.
Sign language
and understand it.
Sign language and Spanish are the most useful ones to learn here for sure.
I guess sign language could be useful.
Well, we actually
I just think it's cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of people in the country who only speak sign language. So that's why I think it's useful. I mean, a lot of people only speak Spanish too, but those are the top two, probably for sure in this country. I don't know though. I think more people speak only sign language than speak only French in America.
French? Yeah, well, that makes sense. I would guess so too. But if you want to go around freaking Canada, if you want to go north instead of south,
like
and then you go French, and versus going south, you want to probably learn Spanish.
Yeah, if you guys are from Canada, let us know what like percentage of people you encounter who are who only speak French as opposed to English or whatever. I'm curious about that. I think it's
I think like half. Well, I think almost all speak English, but then half also do speak French, and a small amount only speak French, like a very small amount.
Is it Quebec?
I know nothing. Quebec is I believe a
French province. Is it Quebec? Most of the people speak Spanish there too, or not French there. I think it's Quebec. It's wherever Dr. Laurent Duvernay Tardif from the Chiefs lives. Wherever he lives.
I don't know what that is.
He's a Chiefs lineman who's also a doctor. He went to school while he was playing football to become a freaking doctor.
That's cool.
I know.
That's like, I don't know his name. It's like the nuclear physicist who would become a bodybuilder / actor.
Yeah. What's crazy is he did that. He left to go like help out when COVID happened. So he opted out of the NFL that season, and he stayed in NFL shape the whole time. So he came back this year, and he's going to like Harvard or Oxford or something to get his master's degree on top of playing football and being a doctor.
Whoa.
Talk about a busy dude.
Okay, we have to stop the show. I jumped from 10 to 3%.
All right. We got a good podcast in. I like this
that was
one.
fun.
Thanks everybody who's been loyal listeners. We appreciate all you give us your feedback, good or bad. We appreciate both.
Even you non-loyal listeners, I like you too.
Yeah, even the ones. Yeah, even the ones who don't like.
The ones that could stand to be more loyal, they're all right.
So you can up your game.
All right, thank you guys.
Bye guys.
Bye.